In this video, we're going to continue our war on editing and proofreading farms by examining in detail yet another sample edit from one of the editing and proofreading farms, so we can save you time and money. Today's lucky winner is billed as the #1 proofreading service, Proof.com. Are they going to be any better than PaperTrue were last week? Well, let's see. Now, if you haven't seen our videos on editing and proofreading scams and editing jargon debunked, the links will be in the description. Make sure that you check them out. So with no further ado, let's go to the Proof.com website. Now, first off, as usual with the proofreading and editing farms, their website is brilliant. It's really good, very intuitive. No complaints there. The services that Proof.com offer are 3: proofreading, editing, and formatting. Their proofreading, what they call proofreading, is in actual fact a line edit. What they call editing is a light version, if you like, of a structural edit. What is quite interesting about Proof.com is that they offer a formatting service, and now they don't ask you what formatting you're publishing in. So if you're publishing, if you want this edited to be printed and you need to have it PDF'd, etc., this wouldn't be a lot of use. But if you're you want a paper, dissertation, a thesis, a published paper edited, this service might actually be quite useful, to be fair. So that begs the question, how much is their editing service going to actually cost you? For a structural and line edit, or their proofed and editing together, on a 100,000 word novel, as an example, it's going to cost you $4,500. If you don't mind waiting 13 days to get your manuscript back. Somewhat suspiciously, you can get your manuscript back in 3 days for $13,500, which, as an editor myself, I'm thinking, well, okay, how are you going to do a 100,000 word document properly in 3 days? Well, yeah, you can give it to separate people to edit various parts, but you'd kind of need to get the permission of the author to do that. So much for their services. I'll let you check out their website for yourself. Let's have a look at their sample edit. Now, our team have downloaded this, or this is a sample for authors. And we've, as usual, as we normally do, we've created the original that was sent in by the writer, and then we've created the Proof.com edit with all suggestions accepted, all changes accepted. So first of all, let's have a look at their edit. What do we think of their sample? This is what they're telling us they could do for us for $4,500. Well, first of all, anybody with any experience would look at this and you're going to say, okay, that is a very, very basic line edit. It's certainly not a structural edit or what they call editing. and it's not a concept edit. As you can see, it's just the usual stuff: spelling, grammar, suggestions. And we'll look at the quality of those suggestions in a moment. What is important to note, there isn't enough notation or explanation. So it would be quite hard for a writer, particularly a newbie, a beginning writer, or a youngster, if I'm just doing a dissertation or a thesis, it'd be quite hard to make out what the hell it is that they're saying here. The temptation will be to just accept all changes in one go. Now, as you will see as we go through this, it really does look, certainly it looks to me like a MLA edit, what they might call AI. It's a machine learning algorithm edit similar to Grammarly rather than a real person, a human. So, so much for the Proof.com sample. Let's take a look at the original. What is it that the writer sent in? Now, this is our version of the original. To be honest, I've tried reading through this, but I won't bore you. I think we'll make the point with the first paragraph. I'll read the first paragraph and then a couple of bits to give you an idea. At 8 a.m., Alan left his flat, walking, practically tiptoeing down the hallway so as not to offend any of his neighbours. He heard a very loud television coming from 3F, but otherwise that the entire floor seemed to be sleeping. The quietude pleased him. The dearth of people hanging around the elevators also comforted him. He looked forward to speaking with Chloe as she worked at the shop. Okay, so far so good. Now, what is quite nice that the writer put in here, I'll read this as a sample. He's put in some dialogue. He's trying to create a story set in northern England. Sorry, Al, love. It's been chaos this morning. Let me open up and I'll get to you as soon as I can. How long you been stood there? Not long, I hope, Barbara prattled on. Alan did his best to mask his disappointment. Not long, he said, following her into the little corner shop. Just got here, really, he told her. Here, but yeah. As she busied around turning on lights, the shutters never came up due to thieves and vandals breaking the windows repeatedly, which left the shop dark except the strip light above them. Okay, so much for the original. Obviously, this original text that the writer was kind enough to send into proof.com is nowhere near ready for a line edit. This would, to take someone's money to edit this would be like a house painter taking the money to paint a pile of bricks. It's bloody criminal, to be honest. Now, it's really unkind. Having seen this as a sample of a writer's work prior to our free 15-minute video conference, we at Writers for Writers would have suggested the following points. The writer has some great ideas, and I personally would really like to read the final story. The writer managed to create a Northern English character, Barbara, with her that had her own distinct voice. There is a hint of an interesting anti-hero in Alan, and I would like to see that drawn out. I think the writer could do that. However, it's obvious that the writer needs to decide what form of English he or she wants to use and then stick to it. You can write a story set in England, in American English, but you only use British colloquial words for effect. The writer needs to spend more time imagining the scenes in his or her head, with a view to making them seem a little bit more realistic. The writer also needs to avoid using anachronistic words like dearth and vermilion, as they tend to spin the reader out of the story. To be honest, we would have suggested a rewrite in the light of those comments, and then get one of our elite beta readers to make a report for each of the chapters, which would have been done obviously an absolute fraction of the cost of a line edit. So much for what we would have done. More to the point, what did the #1 proofreading company in the world do? Well, let's look at their proofed, edited version with all changes accepted, with our edit on top. So hang on, let me just bring that up. So as you can see, to be honest, we lost absolute the will to live after doing the first paragraph. So I'm not going to bore you with going through the whole thing, because unfortunately the proof.com, the paid for edit is an abomination. So I'll just give you a little idea of kind of what they've missed. At 8 a.m. First comment from our editor was, consider it was 8 in the morning when Alan left his flat. 8 a.m. would be used in a report, not in narrative prose. It's too jarring. Comment 2, consider almost tiptoeing down the. Practically tiptoeing suggests that you are tiptoeing in a sensible fashion. Practically is slang for almost, and the dashes that proof.com put in are way too strong. Comment 3, where this is where the writer put in offend the hallway so as not to offend any of his neighbours. Consider, disturb or wake. Well, I mean, why the hell would the neighbours be offended if Alan's leaving his flat at 8 a.m? Comment 4, consider, this is, he heard a loud television. The entire floor seemed to be sleeping. Consider rephrasing to emphasise silence. The entire floor was silent apart from the sound of a television coming from 3F. If you're outside and you can hear it, obviously the television's blaring, so it is redundant to say very loud. Comment 5, the quietude pleased him. That contradicts the previous sentence, so could be omitted. Comment 6, the dearth of people hanging around the elevators also comforted him. Consider lifts. British English, we don't say elevators, we say lifts. Normally there would, and then you could consider rephrasing that. Normally there would be a queue for the lift, but today the floor was empty. That would probably work better. Last sentence in that paragraph, he looked forward to speaking with Chloe, who worked at the shop. Obviously we've not mentioned the shop at this point. In the second paragraph, he just makes up his mind to go to the shop. So it would probably be better at this point to delete that last sentence. We have the vermilion sun, would be better, as you'll see, to have put in bright red, or much better, orange. And again, apartments, we say flats in British English. The sun reminded Alan of marmalade on toast, which is a bit of a jump, but it could have worked if the writer had put in orange sun. The other thing that we've skipped all of this because it's just too damn painful. But what we have put in here, which is quite illuminating, shall we say, suspicious even. On this last but one paragraph here, the writer had originally put in any word, which in Northern British English is written as one word, which he's put it in as one word, which is quite correct because it's actually like a euphemism for anyway. So the writer had put that in as one word and Proof.com had separated it. The other thing that's quite interested in is the writer had put in, Alan held back a sigh, have you got any marmalade, Barb? And then Proof.com have added the dialogue tag, he said, which is of course redundant. It works perfectly well. Alan held back a sigh, have you got any marmalade, Barb? It's obvious who's speaking. And it's for this reason in particular that one suspects the use of MLA rather than an actual living editor, because not even an American editor, I think, would have made that mistake. So it really does look like this has been put through a computer. So much then for the Proofed.com edit. So what did you guys think of Proof? That's the important thing. Let me know in your comments. Check out our references. We'll check out our example. Have a look for yourself. Unfortunately, the Proof.com do have quite a few negative reviews, and looking at those reviews, the standard of editing seems to be, this example of the editing does seem to be pretty normal for Proofed. As before, we'll leave a link in our show notes so you can have a look at that for yourself. Now, this is the thing. This is what I want you to take away from this video. We've done a few of these videos now, and I really want you to take this away. I can't emphasize enough. Don't assume that your work is ready for editing just because you finished writing. Put it aside. Put it in a drawer. Lock it away. Look at it fresh, preferably in a few days' time. If you can, get someone else to read it. If you can't do that, read it to some poor devil over the phone. But whatever you do, put fresh eyes on your work before you send it off to one of these proofreading and editing farms. It will save you a fortune. Think of the writing process like an iceberg. Okay, the initial writing bit is just the tip of it. The real work is done in the editing process. As an example, I can write, as a rule, a 100,000 word novel in 3 months, but it will take me at least 9 months to go through the editing process. Now, the problem with the proofreading and editing farms is that they have, nearly all of them have been set up by people who are focused on computers marketing, and their degrees are usually in computing of some sort or another and marketing. I've not seen any of them yet that are actual writers. So I won't bore you now here, and I don't want to pull anybody's pants down, on a video, but just check out for yourself who is behind Proof.com. And you can have a look at LinkedIn to see those two chaps. But anyway, now enough said. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do have anything that you're worried about, and if you're having second thoughts about sending your baby off to one of these, I think the technical term is bastards. If you are having second thoughts, by all means get in touch with us for a free 15-minute video conference before you do. Hope you enjoyed the video. Whatever you do, keep writing. Until next time, be well. Bye.
Somebody must have stolen the crown jewels.